Why do you think women possess a lot of red flags before entering the dating scene, going into a full up relationship?
Love this question. So, something I wish the world will open their eyes and become aware to is the fact that women have been being attacked by the patriarchy and capitalism for as long as we know. We just got the right to vote, like in what, the 50s or 60s, and we are slowly gaining more and more freedom as time goes on, while like we slingshot forward and slingshot back all the time. Like our reproductive rights are being taken away. Dating has become so scary in the world. Like men, not to blame all men, obviously, but it's extremely difficult to know for women, is this a safe space? Like, am I safe to let down my guard? And we put these walls on our hearts. And then what happens is we get so used to these walls because no one is out there protecting us except ourselves. So we don't put those walls down. Even when we are in that safe space, even when we do meet that healthy masculine, we're so preconditioned into thinking that the world is not safe. So there's so much inner work that needs to happen for the feminine to feel safe in her own body so that when she does finally meet that healthy masculine, she's able to intuitively feel that this is a safe space and let down her guard.
3 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all listen to that. Watch. Okay, so we're just gonna get into it because you say about being one with self, the women first. And I got some points here where I think a lot of women meet healthy energy, but they don't know how to deal with it because
They can't recognize it.
they've allowed men to run amok that don't serve a purpose, that
Mhm.
lie to them in the initial stages when you first have that sit down conversation with them, right? And then they play this Russian roulette type of ability where it's like, oh, well, you know what? He may be healthy energy, but maybe he's too safe. He doesn't
Mm.
have a part where he's maybe risque. He maybe has a good mouthpiece. He may look good, smell good, but there's something that they try to find ways to discredit the healthy energy,
And
right?
that's self sabotage all day. And that's because they have only been around toxic men in their life, their parents, their dad, their brothers, their uncles, blah, blah, blah. Like they haven't seen a healthy relationship. So when you don't know how to recognize that healthy masculine and you think that, oh, that man is boring, you're judging them based on their cover, first of all, because you haven't gone deeper into yourself. So you can only meet others as deeply as you've met yourself. And if you were someone who, oh my gosh, the amount of women that claim that they have done the inner work, the shadow work, who haven't at all even touched the depths of their soul, they are the first ones to be like, "Oh, I'm that person's too boring. There's no chemistry." Chemistry is a big word that's going around right now in the healing space. Like in like people are like, "Can you have chemistry and a healthy relationship?" Yes, absolutely. But you have to realize that chemistry looks different when you have a safe nervous system, when you have a regulated nervous system, than it does when you have chaos spewing inside of you.
Nervous system. I love how you say that. I'm gonna wake it up because I feel like this is where, and I talk about. Cause I'm coming from the angle of like first initial stages, right?
Okay.
So you see step one where there's flakiness, right? They don't know how to be consistent. They're unreliable. And I'm talking about women here, right?
Yeah.
And I know women that are listening to this, oh, well, Rory, men are unreliable too. That's cap. And I'll call it, it's cap. Men that are healthy, men that provide a sense of listening intuitively, know how to deep dive within themselves, know when they can spot when you're being flaky with them, when you're not being who you say you are, you're going to necessarily run from that because you realize, oh, he ain't going to call me out on my shit, right?
Hmm.
That's to the guys that are maybe soft, but the guys that are like in tune, like myself, like your
Mhm.
husband, and a laundry
Mhm.
list of other guys that I know, they're gonna call you out on your shit. You
Yeah.
can't take chances
And
with
it's
them
the
guys. You
best
can't,
part.
and you can't take risks with a lot of those dudes. right?
And that's when the
Be-
chemistry builds, honestly. Like,
yep.
that's where it's like, instead of being like wishy washy here and there, like the women chasing the man starts to hold the women accountable to heal and do the work. And that's the sexiest thing about my husband, truly. Like, I would not be the woman I am today if he didn't push me and encourage me and support me through my healing.
And I love that you say that because here's some gems I'm gonna drop. I'm gonna drop a whole bunch of like nuclear warheads on this episode.
Let's do
When
it.
a man possesses good, healthy energy and he knows where he's going, he's not going to chase you and he's not going to run after you.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to set the foundation for you to take the step in the lead to make yourself available. Men, if she's not available for you, she don't find you that interesting. That's just the reality of life.
I
And
agree
if
with
she's going
that.
to simply sit here and she's going to duck and she's going to dodge and be like, oh, I want to get to know you. Oh, I want to spend time with you. They can say
But then
whatever they
she's
want to say with their
MIA.
mouth,
Yep.
right? Because guess what? She's over at Chad and the Tyrone's house, like these influencers like to talk about, right? And she's running amok. And then she'll come back to you because she wants you to put her back together again like Humpty Dumpty, ladies and gentlemen. Just being honest.
Damn. That's so true because it's like the women are so scared to settle down with that safe guy too soon because they know once they do, then they're not going to be able to do be that free-spirited person that they enjoy being. Like, trust me, when I was single, I was swiping on the dating apps. I was having the time of my life, meeting as many people as I wanted and just doing my thing. And then when I met my husband, I was like, damn, this is crazy. Like, you're never going to have another first date once you are ready to commit. And that's scary. Like, that's kind of like, damn, are we really going to do this thing? Are we really going to go exclusive? Are we really going to let go of this old life that we've been having fun with and actually get vulnerable and dive headfirst into commitment? Like, it's a lot to ask for when the woman doesn't feel like she is ready for that commitment. And same with the man. Like, you have to feel ready to commit, and then that person will come into your life and you'll know.
Yeah. Practice peace. Practice being one with yourself.
Yeah.
Practice being stoic, man. Be stoic. Sit, implement the things that it is you need to implement into.
And
We're
you'll be
gonna
able to
get in
feel that energy on someone, especially on a first
100%.
date. Like, there's questions you can
100%.
ask, and you'll be like, is this person really ready for a commitment or not? Or are they still out here playing the field? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, let them live the life that they want to live. Just know that that's not your person and keep looking, keep moving forward.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people want to play this game of one to many. And I think I'm going to say it again. It's corny. They say men should be, plate spinning, whatever the hell that means. I know what it means. It means date multiple people.
I
But
think
then
women
women
should be doing
think,
the same thing.
oh God, here we go. You see, Paige and Coco, shout outs to her. You guys, I tell you, don't worry. When Miami, me, you, it's happening. It's gonna happen. We're all gonna
Let's
sit
do
down in a
it.
panel because, yeah, we're gonna debunk some of them
I
talking points
love
there.
Coco. Her
Yeah,
message
yeah,
is so good.
exactly. But you know where she's coming from, though? A traditional woman, right? So with
Explain.
well, because traditional woman means from the West, the way the West is all chaotic, I think more women that are from the European climate are more prone to
Mm.
be traditional. And I
I think
think
she's just an
men,
evolved human who knows that women deserve high standards and they shouldn't be
yes.
shamed for wanting what they want.
Okay. So
And I
let
think
me,
that
let
needs to
me,
be a universal message.
let me push some buttons here. Do you think the women from the West are more willy nilly versus the women from the Eastern climate, things like that?
I think that America has ruined humans. And I think that America has completely destroyed our nervous systems through all this messaging of we're not good enough, we're too much. We are completely lost and confused about how we fit into the society. Versus in Europe, they respect women. So women in
Yes.
Europe grow up and they're raised around a world that accepts them and lets them be who they want to be. And even in Muslim countries, third world countries, they think that women are oppressed. Actual truth about Islam is that women hold the utmost respect in our religion. But it has been so misconstrued by toxic masculinity and it's been changed through the ages. But if you get to the core of all these religions, all these like modalities, women are the most respected, the utmost respect. Like mothers hold so much wisdom and power. And the masculine, the father, is supposed to be the one who protects the family. Like, that's why Europeans, they also allow their children to stay home for as long as they want, create a safe, stable environment at home for their children to get set up on their 2 feet. They don't shame them for still living with their parents at 18. My cousins in Europe have lived with their parents till 30, gotten married, and then gone and did they're like VPs at Goldman Sachs, like super successful, super stable, like their children are thriving. And we're all out here like can't even adult, don't even know how to be an adult because
So you,
America has just raised a bunch of man children, woman children, like tiny little
but you just said
ego
it. You
bruised
said it
people.
from a very, how do I say this, from a technical side. And
Hmm.
it's, I agree. I think the West has reshifted and reprogrammed the way how the dating arc is looking. And I think this is the reason why you see a lot more men are more prone to go overseas and to maybe go find their girlfriend to transition to their wife, because there's different lifestyle that's over there. And I think that
Yeah.
traditional women know what traditional means. And I think the women in the West want traditional views and they want to have a traditional outlook, but they want to pick and choose what it is they want to have that's traditional versus what society's telling us. Right?
And is that a like isn't that good?
That's
Is that
great.
good? Yeah.
That's great. But I think that it's depending on what side you're leaning to on the coin. I'm a person, right, that likes to say is that I believe in both people being in the household, regardless, because that's where you're not going to have a lot of broken homes if you're wanting to have kids, right? That's just reality of life.
Right.
Because when kids can grow up and they know and they can look at mom and they can look at dad, if it's different ethnicities, color of skin, whatever it is, right? They can understand what's going on, black versus white. I'm all about interracial relationships. That's,
Me
I've
too.
been a big person of that, right? And you see it more over here in Canada, United States. There's
Hmm.
nothing wrong with that. But I think where some women in the West now, they want to have this form of independency. I don't need a man. And when I hear women say they don't need a man, it's because guess what? They're too baseline hardlined with the masculine energy because they let other men run amok in their life. That's just reality of life. And that's
Mm.
not being
Ooh,
misogynistic. That's just
ooh,
keeping it
let's get
real.
into that. Ooh, let's
That's just
get into
keeping it
that.
real.
Ooh.
And
Okay.
I want to see
So
somebody to defend it.
do you think that those women who are operating so heavy in their masculine energy, those are usually the ones that say, I don't need a man? And do you believe that that's because of other men in their life? Or do you think it's because they have never in their life seen or had a healthy masculine tell them it's okay to put down that armor? I got you.
Which I always say it's about reflection of the men that are in your life, brothers,
Totally.
dads,
But like,
stepdads.
I agree with you. But at the same time, why are we blaming the woman for not having that healthy masculine in their life? Like she doesn't get to choose and control the men around her until she feels safe enough in her body, in her feminine energy to heal that wounded masculine that's within her. And she can't do that on her own. She thinks she can. And she's like, I don't need a man because men have abandoned her entire life. They have stripped her of her power her entire life. So now, of course, she's going to be like, all men are the same. I don't trust men. I'm fine on my own. I'm making my money. I'm buying my own house. I am totally fine. Why do I need a man? Why do I need a man child to take care of? Because that's in her mindset. In her mindset. That's what men are. And in so many things that we see online of that viral video that women was there was a woman, a wife, who was like, oh, my husband said I don't cook or clean. So for 3 days I did nothing. This is what our house looks like. Remember that was like blowing up recently. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody in the comments is like, oh, why are you married to a man like that? When in reality, like there was a stage in my life where even though my man is so secure and so confident in who he is, he wasn't stepping up and taking care of the house the way I needed him to. But I didn't know how to even ask for that because all I've ever seen in my life is that the woman takes care of the house and the man provides a roof over the head. You know what I mean? So, like,
Mm-hmm.
we have to decondition society as a whole. And that is why these podcasts that you have created, that I've created, that Coco have created, are so incredibly important because we're doing that work to light that bulb in these people to give them hope that not all men are the same, not all
Mm-hmm.
women are the same.
No, for sure. And here's where I can add on to what you're saying, because what you're saying, I do not ever want to challenge. But this is where I think it's for the woman is having the right people around you. Like they say, men have to have the right men around us, right? To be able to ebbs and flows through life and know what growth looks like. I don't think a lot of
I
women
agree.
can simply look at their inner circle and say to themselves, do I have 1 to 2 to 3 different accountability partners that are going to call me out on my shit when I'm doing something wrong? That's
And
just
then
point blank.
how do you recommend them to go out and find these people when they are stuck in environments that don't reflect that those people in their life?
And this is the reason why we do such great work, because this is where it starts with self. With ourself, the number one thing that we need to know how to do is communicate. Now, you can communicate verbal, or you can communicate through email, through text, or any other ways and means.
Mhm.
Everybody's working at some point in time, yet alone, everybody goes to school. You should be around the right people. You should be able to identify and know what is the right energy that can position and push me to finding the right inner circle, which is my community, right?
And that knowing, though, starts, like you said, with the self. So let's
Exactly.
backtrack and talk about what can a woman do to activate that inner knowing and be able to trust her inner knowing. I think the biggest problem, at least it was for me, was that I thought I didn't like, let's go back to the confidence thing. I didn't have enough confidence knowing that my intuitive feeling was right over all of the voices around me. That because it innately went against everything around me, right? Like, let the man, if he's too afraid to lose, if he can lose you, that means he doesn't love you. That's the biggest thing that people say right now, right? Like, if he's willing to lose you, then he doesn't deserve you. And I lived apart together with my husband, and he didn't stop me. He was like, do what you need to do for your mental health and your growth and your evolution. And I'm here when you're ready to come back. But like, if I took society's words, which rang loudly inside my head, saying, he's willing to let you go, what the hell are you doing? I could have missed out on the greatest love story of my life.
Yeah.
But you need to truly believe that your intuition is right over the voices of society and all of the freaking loudness of social media giving out all these messages when,
That's why I
like,
believe, yeah, that's why I
yeah.
believe that for women, and I get it, there's an
But it's
emotional,
hard. It's
yeah,
so
yeah,
hard to trust your intuition. It's so hard.
true, but this is where you have to go with instinct. You got to go with gut. You got to go with chance, like Monopoly, right?
But women are
What that,
disconnected from their bodies. They don't know how to even
what,
trust their gut.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. You got to find a way to get connected. Hey, the neck bone's connected to the what? To the tailbone, right? So you got to be able to find it in yourself. And I'm going to be saying this. You got to ask questions. There's got to be somebody in your community. There's got to be some sort of leader in your community that can point you into
Yeah.
the right direction, where it could be a book recommendation that you start reading,
Hmm.
right? Where then
It
it
could be a
goes is,
filter of your feed and like get rid
yeah.
of the things that like don't feel right and don't feel good in your soul.
Exactly. And I think that men are challenged to do this each and every day. And we're going to get to the men. We're going to get to the red
Mm,
flags soon enough.
okay.
But I think with more women need to start with accountability within self and
I
with
agree.
accountability in your community. Because like, I'm sorry to say this. I'm over this. Oh, my dad wasn't in my life. My mother wasn't in my life. Shit, man. It's 2023. You
You know what it
got to,
goes to? It's that victim mentality. And
yep.
it's because we were raised in the world of fairy tales. And we were told that a man's going to come and save you. And you're the damsel in distress who needs saving. So we think that there's going to be someone or something outside of us, whether that's a career, a man, or something else, travel, whatever your thing is that you're searching for. You think that once you have that, you'll be safe and you'll be taken care of and everything's going to be great. The problem is that you're still in victim mode when you give something outside of you power to make you happy. And they need to realize, women all over the world, I had to learn this the freaking hard way, that nothing outside of you can give you your self worth, your self love, and your self acceptance. You need to master yourself first and foremost if you want to attract all that is good in your life. And yes, it starts with people around you, but before that, it starts with solitude. It starts with getting rid of every single person, place, or thing and recalibrating what is true to you without any external voices or influences, and just sit with yourself and ask yourself questions.
But not many people know how to sit with themselves because they're dependent on other people.
Force
I think that
yourself.
and that's why I said it's you gotta force, you gotta
It's
want it.
going like cry. It's going to
Yeah.
be so uncomfortable. Like, are you kidding me?
Yep.
When I started processing my emotions for the first time, I thought I was going fucking crazy. I
Yep.
was crying, I was screaming, and thank God I was living alone when I was doing this because it was not pretty.
No, and that's the thing. But it goes back to, and I use this quote, Mamba mentality, right? Doesn't start unless you have the basketball.
Mm,
Everybody has a chance to pick up a basketball, but not physically picking up the basketball. It's what resources do you have? And I think that I'm going to say this. I think a lot of women, I work along some, I network with some, and I see from a quick snapshot, you don't have the right leaders as females in your life. So if you don't have the right leaders that are going to hold you accountable, that's the reason why I think accountability is something that's a lot of women don't know how to deal with. And maybe it's because of the process of emotions. You know what I mean? So it's
kind
like
of.
if you have a strong minded male that's going to look at you and maybe check you on a couple things, you're going to be like, what? But then it's like, you came from a household. Mom and dad were in the household. So you're telling me that your dad never laid down the law, discipline, whatever the hell that is? I know if I invited my mother to come on
He
the
did like
podcast,
my
yeah.
dad always used to take my mom's side because he was scared of her anger issues.
hmm But with that, I look at West Indian, Jamaican background household.
Mhm.
Accountability was listed in all three of the daughters. I know if I brought my mother on this podcast right now, ladies and gentlemen, she gonna tell you, listen, what
Accountability
accountability
does
look
not
like,
exist in my family.
which is fair. But I just know that there was that leadership presence that was put in position. And it's not like it has to be like yelling, but it's like you gotta check certain things, man.
But I
It's
have
like,
not had a good leader in my life. I've only had wounded egos trying to run the show in my life. Like, I
but
truly have never seen a man or a woman who is balanced in their ego and their self.
okay. But what are the three things that you did? There was three things that there are three components that you did to flip the switch up there though. What were the three things that you did?
Well, I almost lost my husband. So that the first thing I had to do was take a hard look in the mirror and be like, where am I responsible in this relationship? And I realized that because I was raised by narcissists, I had a lot of narcissistic tendencies and I was a fucking shitty wife. And I was not there the way my husband needed me to be there. And I needed to completely take a hard fucking look in the mirror and be like, fuck, I'm not the person he deserves. And how can I become the person he deserves? So, and with or without knowing that I was going to make it work with him, I literally was detached from the outcome, whether it, I get better and we get back together, or I get better and I attract someone better, right? Someone that I can grow and heal with. Like, I wasn't so attached. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to heal because of my husband. But I was like, damn, I have a lot of things in me that I don't really like. There's a lot of things, like, I get easily triggered. I'm not a good friend. I'm not like, I'm kind of a shitty person. And I don't want to be a shitty person. Like,
Hmm.
why am I a shitty person? Where are these things coming from? And I
Yeah,
realize it's because I have had no examples of what healthy love looks like. I had to learn all of that on my own.
facts. But you know what? You see the product result because I see the Instagram stories. I see you guys out, and the thing that nobody's championing is dating. Y'all are out dates. I asked one time I asked you in the
Dude, we date
DM.
every single day.
You know what
Well,
I
every
mean?
weekend for sure.
But this is what I'm saying, and a lot of people don't want to do that because my life is busy. Bada bing, bada boom. This is going on. I got that
If your
going on. It's
life
like,
is too
yo,
busy, then you don't deserve love.
hello,
Love
say it
is
again.
worth the
Say it again.
effort.
Say it
Love
again.
is worth fighting for. Like, fight against your nature
Yeah.
and get to the core of what you desire. Because at the end of the day, you can stay here and put on that fucking mask and say you want money over love, you want friendships over love, you want this and that over love. No. Stop lying to yourself. Every single person all over this fucking world wants love. We
Mm-hmm.
are human beings innately who came here to feel love.
But since it's red flags on women, a lot of women love creating the Instagram captions to get the lingering comments that are going to lurk into the DM and then complain with it with their family and friends and their coworkers. Oh, why is he shooting his shot like me? Why is he sexually doing whatever it is he wants to do with me? Well, it's how you're presenting yourself. It's how you dress yourself up into the package. You can't get mad if that's what you're going to be getting back. You treat yourself with class, you're going to get class back. You treat yourself like trash, you're going to get trash back. That's just how I see it.
Okay, perfect example of this. You know the Jonah Hill story that's going around about
Mm-hmm.
how he was like abusive to his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So he had her take down. So before they started dating, he used to comment on all those photos and say, "Damn girl, you look good," blah blah blah. As soon as he started dating her and made her his girlfriend, he asked her to take those photos down off her Instagram because of control. So, what are your feelings on that?
I love the smooth transition. See, now we're going into the. Whoo! I just got chills. Let me tell you this. It all goes by. Okay, so I'm going to speak from my point of view. I'm not going to date somebody, in my point of view, that is, say, for instance, a model. Okay? Here where I'm going to go with. I'm going to just tell you a little short story. I'm not going to necessarily date somebody that's a model. But if you're in the health and wellness space, that's for me to pick and choose because then I know that it's all about showing your body in the best representative way possible.
Mhm.
You know when it's professional versus when it's occupational
A
of just,
thirst
I
trap.
want to just get thirst traps, right? So, men, rule number one, you have to ask yourself this question. If your children, if you have kids with this woman and how she's showing herself on social media, can your kids open up social media and go, that's mom and identify her? That's the
Okay, but
first
now I'm
thing.
going to ask you about Kiki Palmer.
We ain't even go there. We're not gonna go there yet. Just wait. Let me cook for a second. Let me cook, Sam. Let me cook. So with that said, I'm the type of person, I'm not jealous about what people post on Insta because you got to be secure within yourself. Because the same thing people can say about me. Well, all you do is you interview women on your podcast. Why? Well, because they are having a voice to simply sit here and come here and execute and talk about the things that need to be talked about. Men can do it also too, but when it comes to certain matches, certain debates, certain conversations like what we're doing, you need to have the woman to be in the place.
And you
Like I
challenge
said
us, which
again,
I love.
which comes into, I know I have the 1, the 3, and the 5. The 2 and the 4 comes in, and this is the reason why we cook and we make some amazing things happen on this platform.
Yeah.
So, with that said, you have to look at and you have to pick and you have to choose. Is it thirst trap or is it me posting something where I'm with the girls, we're eating pasta, we're baking cookies, we're doing all this? That's what I champion. I see captions, and I'm gonna get to what you basically what you were saying. I see captions of people wanting to thirst, sorry, about, oh, I'm out here doing this. Oh, I'm a bad bee. I'm a this. I'm a that. Listen, you want to keep considering yourself and saying that you're a bad bee. You're diminishing who you are. You're diminishing what your offspring is going to be carrying. Because if you want to have kids, or you're caretaking kids, or you're into that space, people are gonna look at you and say, "Yo, you a joke, and you're running amok." Now I'm
See, I
cooking.
don't agree.
That's fine. That's fine. But here's the
I
thing is,
respect that a lot because I think a
mhm,
lot of what you said has a lot of truth to it. I
mhm.
love what you said about the men need to be able to see, is this for a thirst trap or is this for her business or her career or her platform, right? What about stages of evolution? Why are we expecting people to be straight to pure? And why not give them the space to explore who they are and either evolve or stay the same and love them where they're at, regardless? Why so much of the judgment around women who may feel really empowered to call themselves a bad bee, whatever? Why
Because you're
is there
diminishing, you're
like,
degrading yourself. You
so
actually
I
are. You're degrading yourself.
so I disagree because coming from someone